Okay, so in MATLAB there are many ways to create vectors. So for example, in matrices. So if you want to create, let's say, let's say you want to generate just a random number, you can basically type in rand and it will give you a random number. Every time you type it, it gives you random number. You see, every time a new random number is generated, and that random number, it will always be between 0 and 1. So what if you want the random number to be between 0 and let's say 5? Well, what you can do is you can do this. You can say round and then multiply that number by 4. So come on, no, not round, it's rand, my bad. Okay, did you do that? Okay, perfect, I can see that now. So you see, if you just type in rand, it will give you between 0 and 1 a random number. But if you multiply that with some number, you're most likely to get a number ranging between 0 and the number which you multiplied with. Okay, other than rand, we have let's say you want to create a vector, or maybe a matrix. Yeah, a matrix, that's what it's going to create. So rand3 is going to create you 3 by 3 matrix, and all the elements are going to be between 0 and 1. So if you want a matrix that has elements between 0 and let's say 9, what you can do is you can say rand3 multiplied by 9. See, and it's going to give you a randomly generated matrix that has values ranging from 0 to 9. Okay, perfect. And also one important point that we must notice about rand keyword is it creates all the values or elements that it creates are always positive. So you can see like none of the number is negative. So what if you want a negative number, like you want to create a matrix that has negative as well as positive numbers? Well, for that there is a keyword random negative. So you see it gives you randomly selected a negative or a positive number. So this is like more comprehensive, I would say. So if you want to create, let's say, a 3 by 3 matrix of randomly generated in positive as well as negative numbers, this is what I would do. So you see it has not only negative numbers but also positive number. Okay, and of course this can range from any number to any number. So you can see like it has like 0 point something, it also has like negative 2 point something. And every time you run it, it's just gonna give you a whole new set of numbers. But in any way, if you want to increase the numbers that it produces, you can basically multiply it with some number, let's say 16 or 15, whatever you want. Okay, so that's basically a randomly generating number. And we have talked about magic. Yeah, we've also talked about what else do we have? Yeah, zeros and ones. So if you want to create, let's say, a vector or a matrix, let's say you just want to create come on, zeros 2. Okay, so zeros 2 is going to give me 2 by 2 matrix that has all the elements values at 0. Similarly, we have ones. You already know what it does. So basically it's going to create your matrix defined by this dimension, and all the elements are going to be 1. That's it, 6 by 6 matrix, all elements 1. Okay, what if you don't want a matrix, you just want a vector, like a row vector or just a column vector? Let's say you just want one row, that means a column vector. You can just say 1 comma maybe 5 column, that's what I want. So this is going to create a row vector. You can see like just one row, and all those numbers, 5 numbers, they are in like different cells in one row. So basically 5 columns. Similarly, you can do with the zeros. Let's say you don't want a column vector, a row vector, you want a column vector. If you want a column vector, what you can say is I need just one column and I'm gonna need like 8 rows. So see, it's gonna give you like all the elements 0 and 8 by 1 basically matrix. Okay, so that's 0 ones. Yeah, basically those are the ways we can create matrix. What else do we have? Yep, linspace. This is interesting. Let me create. So let's say I want to create values linearly that are linearly spaced between 1 and let's say 10. What I can do is I can say linspace. This stands for linearly spaced values between 1 and 10, and then you can give how many values do you want. Let's say I want I don't know, let's say 4. So this is gonna give me create a vector that will have values between 1 and 10, and the total number of elements in that vector is gonna be 4. Come on. Yep. So see, we have 4 elements defined by this argument, and all these numbers they're gonna be between 1 and 10. So 1 and 10, including the external. Okay, so what if you don't specify how many numbers you want? Well, in that case it's gonna generate, I think, 100 numbers between 1 and 10. Yeah, it generates 100 numbers. At least that's by default, that's what MATLAB does. Okay, we've got A here. You can see in a single row it creates, and all these are linearly spaced. That's what is like the gist of this particular keyword. Okay, so that's linearly spaced. This is going to be really useful when you when we try to program some course in MATLAB. We'll see, don't worry. Right now I'm just trying to help you understand like how these commands or these syntax or keywords are, like how do they work, how you can use them, how you can basically write them and create some numbers on MATLAB.